After Ginger's appearances in the two big-budget musical blockbusters for Warner Brothers, which had been both great for her career and, at the same time, very troubling, Ginger went back home to RKO. It wasn't home for her yet. She was still stubbornly freelancing through the studios, refusing long-term contracts, and pissing off studio heads, as seems obvious with what happened with Warner Brothers. She had signed a 3-picture deal with RKO, with an option for a long-term contract. But it was little RKO that, from the beginning, to me obviously saw more from Ginger than the other studios. In her first RKO movie, The Tip-Off, Ginger had her finest role to that point, playing Babyface, the first really standout role she had since her first full-length movie, Young Man of Manhattan, in 1930. Her next two RKO movies, Suicide Fleet and Carnival Boat, provided decent roles for Ginger, allowing her to do some bits of dramatic acting, a little singing, and furthered her career. The studio system was challenging to operate. They would greedily lock in talent to long or short-term contracts, and they would buy up good scripts, but then they had to put the pieces together. For their top stars, they would try to coordinate the two, but for the others, they would get what was available. The studio had to honor the contract or keep their long-term busy, since they were paying them anyway. Whether this was planned or just luck, in Professional Sweetheart, they had the perfect vehicle to utilize Ginger's unique set of talents. The role of Glory Eden was tailor-made for Ginger. She shines like never before and highlights her beauty, her comedic skills, her dramatic acting, and, for the first time, just how good she could be playing the mean girl when pissed off. In a movie where Ginger sparkles throughout, in one scene in particular, she is just fantastic. She is justifiably angry, going from a radio show that kept her captive to a marriage that started off keeping her captive. So she taunts her new husband to get even, looking incredibly gorgeous and performing a hilarious scene. For the first time, Ginger got glowing reviews. If that was not enough, the other factor was the director. One common theme throughout Ginger's bio is directors, good and bad. Ginger loved working with director William A. Sider. He was a comedic director, directing Wheeler and Woolsey, Laurel and Hardy, Abbott and Costello, and the Marx Brothers. Ginger wrote, "I simply adored him." He would direct all 3 movies in Ginger's 3-movie deal, and later his touch was apparent in Ginger's great comedic performance in Roberta and good performance in Person. With all this, I say RKO finally won the Ginger sweepstakes right here in this movie because they respected her. RKO's casting for the movie didn't hurt either. She was reunited with Norman Foster as the male lead, second of 3 movies Ginger would do with Foster, and an excellent group of comedic character actors: Zazu Pitts, Frank McHugh, Alan Jenkins, Gregory Radoff, and Franklin Pangborn. One issue in this movie did upset Ginger. For the first and only time, Ginger singing her only song, My Imaginary Sweetheart, was dubbed over by Edda Moten. I understand why they did this. Ginger did not really have a radio-quality voice, just a great movie voice. Still, no one ever did this again. Not to be outdone by Warner and their wonderful photo shoot of Ginger in Gold Diggers, RKO did multiple photo shoots of a very sexy Ginger in several different costumes, including a black negligee referenced in several scenes her character never gets to wear. RKO did everything right in the contest to sign Ginger long-term. Ginger is the star of the Ipsy Wipsy Radio Hour and is introduced as the Purity Girl, the personification of all that is good and sweet. Yet as soon as the intro is completed, Ginger threatens to sign off with something stronger than "I love you" if her items have not arrived by then. She sings "My Imaginary Sweetheart," dubbed over by Edimo 10. The sponsor Ratoff is in a panic, especially because reporter Pitts is in the studio for an interview. Pitts talked about just how popular Ginger was to public relations spokesman McHugh. Pitt's character asks a series of questions without ever allowing the person to answer. Ratoff sends Pitt off to dinner with Pangborn and then a later interview at Ginger's penthouse to get her out of the way in case Ginger explodes. The item does arrive in time, and Ginger signs off with "I love you all." In the next video, I play this upcoming scene in full, one of the best in the movie. Ginger sure seems to be a ridiculously temperamental star, until we see how this radio show is controlling her every breath, with the excuse the image must be maintained. She cannot even order for dinner what she wants. Her food must be almost childlike, with the absurd Pangborn deciding, while he orders a succulent dinner for himself. In her room changing, Ginger mourns her controlled life, after she is reminded by Pangborn, no makeup, no perfume, no jewelry. Oh my God. Her maid, performed by Teresa Harris, has bought her sexy lingerie she cannot wear, tells her about the exciting New York City nightlife, and shows her a new dance step. Ginger comes out for the interview dressed like a saint, saying, "All I need is a lily." They hit her with signing her new contract. She reads it and explodes in fury. She shall not smoke, nor swear, nor drink, shall not attend nightclubs or other places of public entertainment, nor be seen any time alone with any man. Ginger can sure do a temper tantrum well, and her poor character is right. She might as well be in jail. Then she collapses on the couch, sobbing, and says she just wants to be like other girls. She wants a sweetheart. McHugh says great, let her have a boyfriend, and now these clowns start planning her romance in a way that will promote the product. Ginger says she wants an international playboy. They decide to go through fan mail to find her new boyfriend. Ginger randomly picks out Foster from Kentucky. Pitts comes in for the interview and buys the image hook, line, and sinker. She sees Foster's picture, and now they make up a story he is coming to visit New York next week. McHugh visits Foster in his Kentucky cabin to talk him into the visit. McHugh even brings clothing to make him look authentic. The big promotion begins. Look at this. Ginger is in the back of the car, surrounded by the clowns, while Foster is in the front. Now the idiots decide they will get married, without consulting either of them. Ratoff tells Ginger once married she can finally enjoy New York City nightlife. Jenkins comes into the story, up to no good, looking to take Ginger for another sponsor. Time for the big press party to announce their engagement. Only problem is Foster has not proposed. These clowns have not left them alone for a second. McHugh, clever with an endless line of BS, demands to know Foster's intentions, giving Foster the idea Ginger would want to marry him. In the second following video, they are finally alone. Now we get to see another side of Ginger's character. She is just a young girl, sweet and sensitive away from the clowns. They kiss. Outside, McHugh is laying it on thick. Then the crowd marches in on their special moment. Ginger tells Foster she does love him, right before they are paraded for the press and give interviews. Ginger puts on a good show, all of the things she was instructed to say. The clowns hand out the wedding invitations they already created, more advertisement than about the wedding. Jenkins tells Foster the truth about how their marriage will be, under control of the clowns. Foster says no way. He will take Ginger away. Time for the wedding, of course on the radio show. As a wedding present, Ratoff is giving her the new contract he wanted her to sign all along. They look so nervous, but Ginger seems happy saying, "I do," and then she sings her song again. The clowns are waiting in the limo. Even now they will not let them ride alone. Waiting around the corner is Jenkins, ready to execute his plan for Ginger to sign a contract with the competing company. Foster accidentally spills water all over Pangborn and their new contract. Ginger is thrilled with the chance to honeymoon in Atlantic City, but for that she needs to sign Jenkins' contract. Foster refuses a 5-year contract, so Jenkins tells him the truth about the entire wedding being a publicity stunt. Foster is stunned when Ginger wants to sign, as long as she can smoke and drink, and there is no morality clause. Foster has them sneak out the fire exit and into a cab, leaving both scheming groups behind, while Ginger still thinks she's going to Atlantic City. Shown in the third following video, this is the best scene of the movie, one of Ginger's best ever, where she sparkles, taking a furious temper tantrum and antagonizing her new husband. It has to be seen to be truly appreciated. On the ride to Foster's cabin, Ginger is seething. She thought she was honeymooning in Atlantic City. Foster shows her around his simple cabin. He is angry too. It was all lies that Ginger wanted marriage and the simple life. Ginger asks, "Well, if you think I am so bad, then why do you want to stay married to me?" and is taken aback when Foster replies, "I ain't sure that I do." She resumes lying and antagonizing, saying she was brought up in the lap of luxury when she was actually a poor orphan, and about her smoking and drinking and men, when we know she never got out, adding it was hundreds of men. Ginger strips down to her slip, and when Foster is alarmed, Ginger says, "After all, you're my husband, aren't you?" She puts on lipstick, and he says, "You're a bad woman, with your face all painted." Ginger pulls out her new sexy negligee, and Foster hands her a granny gown. Foster snatches the negligee and won't give it back, so Ginger breaks into a sexy dance to taunt him. Ginger's performance is so good. Foster is angry, tells her to stop it, and Ginger says, make me, you big. I'll dance if I like." Foster goes to spank her, and Ginger bites his leg, and then starts throwing everything at him. Foster punches her, knocking Ginger out cold. Foster is filled with regret, praying, "Oh God, please don't let her die. She's wicked, but I love her." Ginger is just pretending. As Foster carries her to the bed, Ginger is calling out to her dream man. The clowns are in a panic, not knowing where Ginger has gone. Ginger's maid Harris wants to fill in for Ginger, but her offer is rejected. The competitor is trying to buy his slot on the radio, and Ratoff rushes down there to argue. Both McHugh and Jenkins realize at the same moment Foster took Ginger home with him. McHugh gets there first and finds a much different Ginger, happy and totally domesticated. McHugh is clever, though, and asks Ginger to listen to the show tonight. Jenkins arrives as McHugh leaves. McHugh calls Ratoff to put Harris on the show that evening to get Ginger back. McHugh's plan works, but the timing is off. She is refusing all Jenkins' offers when the show comes on. Ginger is surprised when Foster says, when a person has a talent, they ought to use it. Harris comes on as Ginger's replacement, and Foster is taken with her sexy singing style. Ginger has a jealous fit and signs the contract with Jenkins. As Jenkins leaves, McHugh arrives. McHugh lays it on thicker than ever. "Do you know this man? Wait till you see him. And yet you give him this innocent child." After Ginger, I find McHugh's funny performance the next best in the movie. Of course, this clever fellow has a plan. Foster signs with Ratoff, the two companies are forced to merge, and they live happily ever after. Please like and subscribe.